These are my first impressions of Clash Artifacts of Chaos. Clash Artifacts of Chaos is an action-adventure brawler developed by Ace Team, the studio behind the surreal Xenoclash games. It was released on March 9th, 2023. It is set in a bizarre world, and it blends martial arts-inspired combat with surreal exploration and unique mechanics. At first, the combat took a little while to get used to, but once I started to learn the different moves and stances, it became genuinely fun. There's a satisfying rhythm to chaining attacks, dodging, and experimenting with different approaches, and I felt myself improving with each encounter. The health brew system stood out to me as something pretty unique. I really liked the idea of crafting brews with different ingredients to create specific effects. That said, I wish the game showed exactly what my brew did once I made it, so I could try to replicate the recipe later on. There was this issue where I would put certain ingredients into a health brew and it would say that I had some kind of unique effect, like it had an icon next to it or something like that, but it wouldn't tell me exactly what that did. And even if I used it, then I don't know how strong it would be exactly, or if it was better than using a different combination of ingredients. So it would have been really helpful to just have some kind of indication beyond just an icon that told me exactly what the health brew did, so that I could replicate the recipe that I liked. Even so, I did appreciate that the flasks weren't useless without ingredients. If you stop at a campfire and just fill them with water and you don't have any other ingredients, they still restore 25% of your health. It felt fair and useful.
It's a curse.
Says who?
The art style is another thing I loved. It's truly unique in a way that's hard to describe, and it really sets this game apart. I wish more games would experiment with bold art styles like this, instead of chasing hyperrealism all the time. It makes Clash instantly memorable, and it gives the game a similar feeling of Psychonauts for the PlayStation 2 or Crackdown for the Xbox 360. I actually remember playing both of those games and thinking, wow, this art style is so unique. And I know with Crackdown it's just cell shading, but the point remains is that it's difficult to have an outdated graphical style when you have a unique art style, whereas if it's just trying to be hyper realistic, then eventually something's going to come along that's going to outdo that style, and the previous game is going to feel outdated. But that was not the case with Clash. It just was so unique. I love the surreal art style, and it was just very well done. There were a couple of quirks I had to adjust to, like the lack of a vertical jump. There is a horizontal jump that you can use during platforming. It's quite useful, but there's no way to jump up somewhere. More than once I wanted to just hop up to a low ledge, but instead I had to search for the designated climbing spot. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it took some getting used to. The ritual, though, that was a fantastic surprise. That was something truly unique, and I did not expect something like that in this kind of game. It's a dice-based minigame that you play before a duel, and it allows you to gain potential advantages in the duel. So it's really cool. What you do is you choose what kind of advantage you're trying to get in the duel first, and then you roll your dice. And I guess there are multiple kinds of dice, because I think I actually saw one person roll a D8, which was interesting. But that may have just been me not reading the situation correctly. But then you roll your dice, and then you've got these things, and I forgot what they're called, but they influence the dice, so they can actually take all of the dice in a certain area down by one, or they can make a line and they take all the dice in that area by one. Or there's one that's really interesting. It's where it takes your nearest die and your opponent's nearest die, and it cuts both of them in half. So you got to figure out exactly where you want to place them in the field in order to have the greatest influence. So it's both fun and kind of tense, since it balances luck with skill in a way that fits perfectly into the game's surreal world.
Ah! Not fair!
As for the world itself, it's not a true open world, but it doesn't feel linear. The map is more like a maze, twisting and looping back on itself. For me, that wasn't really a positive or a negative. It just felt natural, like it belonged in the game's strange setting. I will say that at time, because of the maze-like nature of the world, before I entered Gemini's palace, I did have kind of a hard time actually finding out where I was supposed to go, but I think that was mostly me, okay? That was a skill issue, because the way to get in was like right there and I just wasn't looking at it. So that is not a fault of the game. But so far, the unique art direction, creative mechanics, and challenging combat make it stand out. It's different in all the right ways, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Thank you so much for watching this review, First Impressions. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time, and you need to relax.